Welcome to my YouTube channel, Real Life with Roadblock. I am your host, Roadblock. Right now we will fly by the seat of our pants and see how this goes. Hopefully my videos will get better, my audio gets better, upgrade equipment. We'll see how all this goes. I know enough to get myself in trouble. So come along, get in trouble with me, and let's have a good time. So tonight's topic is going to be on Walla State Prison. I've been there many times, not as a convict, but I went there to do a spiritual 12-step meeting on a Saturday once a month. We'd have 3 meetings on that day. The first meeting was in the old side of the prison, all the bricks and stuff. The second meeting was outside in the minimum security area. All the guys that were getting ready to get out and doing stuff for the prison, driving the van and stuff. And then the third meeting was out in west area. I don't know if it's called West Block or West Wing, but they've got 4 big buildings out there, A, B, C, and D. I think 4. Like I said, we fly by the seat of our pants, and I don't do scripted. I have notes here that I'll be reading off of to get the information out to you. But out in the west side, 4 buildings, A, B, C, and D. They'd only let A and C out, and then when they got them all back in, then they'd let B and D out to come to the meetings. And there was a lot of security to go through to go out to the west side. In the old prison, the old side of the prison, we met in the chapel, and it was cool to go in and serve, I guess, help people, talk about issues and stuff like that, and listen to them. Sometimes they'd really get off course about how messed up it was for them to be in prison, but it was a humbling experience because I got to leave. They didn't. The address to the prison is 1313 on 13th Avenue. Yeah, that's weird. But anyway, they called it Concrete Mama. There was actually a book called Concrete Mama. I have a copy of it. It's hard to get anymore, and if you do find one, it's going to be quite a bit of money. Probably going to be a lot of ums. I'm going to be like a deer in the headlight. But anyway, they had some people in there. I looked up on Wikipedia famous people in Walla State Prison. Some of them were executed when they had death row there. There is a moratorium on executions in Washington State because of the humane and not humane ways to put somebody to death. When they were executing, they had lethal injection and hanging. I'd probably pick hanging over lethal injection. I've heard too many stories about lethal injection, and you never really know if you're in pain or not. And if I offend anybody on here with my words, apologies. And if I'm doing something wrong, it's always better to ask for forgiveness than to ask permission. There was a guy named Stanley Marvin Burnson, born 1936. Is an American kidnapper, murderer, and self-confessed serial killer. Convicted for 2 known murders in Oregon and Washington in 1978 and 1979. Burnson was later investigated for around 28 additional murders around the Northwest, some of which he claimed to have committed in the company of notorious serial killer Ted Bundy. There's the name. No further victims have been linked to Benson since his incarceration. Span of crime, 78 to 79. Date apprehended, March of 1980. I don't have a picture of him. And yeah, I'm reading. Get over it. That's how I'm going to start until I can figure out how to do all this stuff. Confessions and attempted escape. It doesn't say, life in prison. Life imprisonment times 2. I think he's still there. So, yeah. He's screwed. He may be moved out of there now. I heard they were moving a whole bunch of people out of Walla Walla and moving up to Coyote Ridge. Coyote Ridge is another prison in Washington State. It's the biggest one in Washington State now. Let's go on to Little Willie John. William Edward Little Willie John. November 15th, 1937 to May 26, 1968. He was an American R&B singer who performed in the 50s and 60s. He is best known for his success on the record charts with songs such as All Around the World, Need Your Love So Bad, Talk to Me, Leave My Kitten Alone. I'm not going to comment on that one. And Sleep, and number one hit, Fever, in 1956. I'll have to listen to some of those. But I got a picture of him here. Little Willie John. All my information is coming from Wikipedia. He wasn't executed, but he did die in Walla Walla prison, May 26, 1968. And then, at some point in his life, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame by the blind guy. Can't think of it. Played piano. If I remember, I'll say something. But yeah. It doesn't say. Oh, he said he died of a heart attack. That's what it was. Now, this woman, Linda Hazard, she did some crazy stuff. Cause of death, starvation due to fasting. She died June 24th, 1938. One of her nicknames was the Starvation Doctor. And it has in here, on a daily, here's what, I don't know who this was she fed, but February 1st, saw Dr. Hazard and begun treatment this date. No breakfast, mashed soup dinner, mashed soup supper. February 5th through the 7th, 1 orange breakfast, mashed soup dinner, mashed soup supper. Wonder what the hell mashed soup is. February 9th through the 11th, an orange for breakfast, strained soup for dinner or lunch, and strained soup for supper. On the 12th, 1 orange breakfast, 1 orange dinner, 1 orange supper. 3 oranges in a day. I'd die. I'm fluffy. Let's see. February 13th, 2 orange breakfast, no dinner, no supper. It gets worse. February 14th, Valentine's Day. 1 cup of strained tomato broth at 6 p.m. The next day, 1 cup hot strained tomato soup, night and morning. Oh, got 2 cups. 16th, 1 cup hot strained tomato soup. Slept better last night. Head quite dizzy. Eyes yellow streaked and red. 17th, somebody had 3 oranges. February 19th, called Dr. Dawson Day at his home. Slept well Saturday night. February 20th, 8 strained juice of 2 small oranges at 10 a.m. Dizzy all day. 8 strained juice of 2 small oranges at 5 p.m. February 21st, ate 1 cup settled and strained tomato broth. Backache today just below the ribs. February 22nd, 8 juice of 2 small oranges at 10 a.m. Backache today in right side just below ribs. February 23rd, slept but little last night. 8 2 small oranges at 9 a.m. Went after milk and felt very bad. 8 2 small oranges. February 24th, slept better Wednesday night. Kind of frontal headache in the a.m. 8 2 small oranges at 10 a.m. Ate 1.5 cups hot tomato soup at 6 p.m. Heart hit up to 95 beats a minute and sweated considerably. I don't think I would have made it that long. Let's see, February 25th, slept pretty well Thursday night, ate 1.5 cups tomato broth at 11 a.m. and ate 1.5 cups tomato broth at 6 p.m., pain in the right below the ribs. February 26th, did not sleep so very well Friday night, pain in right side just below ribs and back, pain quite a bit at night, ate 1.5 cups tomato broth at 10:45 a.m., ate 2.5 plump oranges around 4:30 p.m., felt better afternoon than the last week. This diet continued more or less unchanged until his hospitalization on March 28th. He died that afternoon just before his co-worker was to transfuse blood. Wow. Why would people follow that? Brainwashing, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, Hazard died at the age of 70 after subjecting herself to her own treatment methods. Live by the sword, die by the sword. That's what I say. The next guy we got on the docket is Kevin Coe, the South Hill rapist in Spokane, Washington. I guess his dad had a car, and they saw the car sitting by a bus, and so the police ran it, and it was his dad, Gordon Coe, the managing editor of the Spokane Chronicle. After several victims identified him in a photo lineup, Coe was arrested on 6 charges of first-degree rape, although authorities believe he is actually quite responsible for numerous incidents. He even raped a TV meteorologist, Shelley Monahan, but her case was not one of the 6. She underwent hypnosis, but was not able to identify her attacker. They got him on 4 of the charges. Due to a distinctive signature, a gloved fist or fingers rammed in the mouth and throat of his victims. 3 months after his conviction, his mother got arrested. Ruth Coe was arrested for trying to solicit the murder or maiming of her son's prosecutor and judge. She was convicted the next year and served several months in prison. Coe served the entire 25 years of his sentence at Walla State Penitentiary, maintaining his innocence. He did not attend any prison counseling programs. Coe became eligible for parole in 1992 but never applied. You know, I don't get rapists. I don't get them at all. And then on July 31st, 1982, he changed his name. He was active when I was in 8th grade, I think. And it was like elementary, high school. So, yeah. Who knows where he's at now? Fuck him. Okay. And the next guy we have up is Joseph Condro. There's a picture of him. He was born May 19th, 1959 and died May 3rd, 2012, age 52. He was known as the Longview serial killer. He preyed on kids. I don't have much to say about that. Criminal penalty, 55 years in prison. He was apprehended in 1997. You know, I'm not even give that guy the time of day. I just can't do it. Jack Owen Spillman, too, is an American serial killer from Spokane, Washington. He is known as the Werewolf Butcher. Never heard of this guy before. Well, until today, and I looked him up on Wikipedia. 3 counts of first-degree murder, life imprisonment without parole. Looks like he's still alive. Span of crimes, 1 year, 94 to 95. Under threat of the death penalty, Spillman later admitted to killing Davis of Tonasket, Washington, 6 months after her September 1994 disappearance. Her body had been found in a shallow grave some 12 miles from her home. She also had been posed in a provocative position. I thought back in the day, well, that's 94, 95. I don't know. Anyway, maybe he'll die in prison too. Hopefully. Maybe someone will shank him. Probably not. He's been there for a long time. I wonder what other convicts. I don't know if I like using incarcerated. They are convicts. I wonder what other convicts think about him. Wonder how many times he's been beat up. Maybe he had to bite the pillow a few times. You know what I mean. Henry Theodore Young, born June 20th, 1911, disappeared 1972, was an American convicted bank robber and murderer who, while serving one of the series of prison terms, attempted a 1939 escape from Alcatraz, God, I can't speak worth shit, Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary with 4 other inmates. During the escape attempt, 2 inmates were shot and 1 died of his wounds. All survivors were quickly recaptured. 2 of the men, Young and Rufus, were sentenced to solitary confinement and served the terms at Alcatraz for a period of 3 years. He disappeared in 1972 at the age of 61. Died unknown. So he could still be out there. Criminal charge, manslaughter, and bank robbery. Huh. Well, there you go. Alrighty. Next on the docket, Gerald Friend. Born November 24th, 1937, is an American serial rapist and kidnapper from Lakewood, Washington. Currently serving 2 consecutive 75-year terms at Airway Heights Correction Center. That's up towards Spokane. But I read in here that he escaped twice, so they gave him parole in 1980, and then he abducted another girl and took her to his trailer, tied her up, tortured her, raped her, and she jumped out of the truck when they were going down the road or something. And so he went back to prison. They said he had to finish out his 75 years, and then they put another 75 on top of that. So he's probably going to die in prison. There's not much on him, no picture. Sorry. Here's an old guy, Billy Grohl. Here's a picture. There's a lot of stuff that happens up in Spokane. He was up in Spokane. I guess he killed some. He allegedly murdered for an unknown period of time and was a suspect in dozens of murders until his capture in 1910. Spared from the death penalty by a request for leniency by the jury, he was sentenced to life in prison at Walla Walla State Penitentiary, where he died in 1927 from lobar pneumonia and erysipelas complicated by dementia, paralytic caused by syphilis. Yeah, back in the day, if you got syphilis, it'd make you go crazy. But he died at Eastern State Hospital in Spokane County, Washington. So, next guy up is a bad one. All right, ready for this one? Robert Lee Yates. Born May 27, 1952, is an American serial killer from Spokane. From 1975 to 1998, Yates is known to have murdered at least 11 women in Spokane. Yates also confessed to 2 murders committed in Walla Walla in 1975 and a murder in 1988. In 2002, Yates was convicted of killing 2 women in Pierce County and sentenced to death, but it was commuted to life without parole after Washington Supreme Court ruled capital punishment unconstitutional in 2018. He is currently serving life in prison at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. I read something here. It said 2 counts of murder, 13 counts of first-degree murder, and how many accounts of attempted criminal? 408 years imprisonment. Death commuted to life. Well, there you go. The next one, the famous Kenneth Bianchi. Can you believe that? He did all those murders down in California, Hillside Strangler. I listened to a podcast on them, Morbid. Check them out if you've never heard of them. There are two ladies that do a really good job. And I apologize about my eyes being up here and then down here. I got to get a holder for my phone. I'm using my iPhone as my camera. Kenneth Alesso Bianchi, born May 22nd, 1951, is an American serial killer, kidnapper, and rapist. He is known for the 1977-79 Hillside Strangler murders committed with his cousin Angelo Bono Jr., as well as for murdering two more women in Washington by himself. Bianchi is currently serving a sentence of life imprisonment in Washington State Penitentiary for these crimes. Yeah, that podcast was really good. He injected window washer fluid into one of his victims. They first started strangling, and then they went from strangling to trying to do different ways to kill somebody so they could try to throw the cops off their tail. But also, Bianchi tried to become a police officer more than once. And, but Hillside Strangler and Walla, 30 miles down the road, maybe 40. I don't know. And then this one, Gary Ridgway. I have a lot to say about him. I delivered parts to him at Kenworth. I worked at Kenworth in Seattle for 5 years, and I delivered him parts every day. And I listened to a Morbid podcast on him, and here's where things take a really weird twist. So I met this girl when I worked at Kenworth. We went out on some dates, and we moved in together. Very short period of time we lived together. She went back to her ex-boyfriend. But one day she comes home and she has a ring on her finger. And I said, "Hey, where'd you get that ring?" And she goes, "It was in the bathroom at work." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "I asked everybody if it was theirs, and nobody claimed it. And it was beautiful, so I took it." Hint, that was back in the early 90s. Hence, 2 years ago, driving down the road, and my girlfriend says, "Hey, let's listen to some podcasts." I'm like, "Okay." So we listened to Morbid. And I was saying, "Hey, I used to work at the Green River Killer." She goes, "Let's listen to it." In the podcast, they say he would take jewelry off his victims and put them in the bathroom at work, and the girls would take them, and then he could see the girls wearing the jewelry off of women he killed. I am at a loss for words on that one. But he took my buddy out to lunch, and to relieve his stress, he said he sold Amway. Of course, Amway is a frickin' pyramid scheme. And I don't know why my computer keeps going to screen out, but yeah, Gary Ridgway. And then when I went to the Walla Walla State Pen to do my spiritual 12-step meetings, I walked by where he was at in IMU. He's only let out for an hour a day in a cage with nobody else around. I think I'd rather die than do that, you know. When I can't, I'm a busy guy. I do a lot of things, and I'm always running. And I just don't know if I'd probably make it. I'm pretty good at taking care of things and doing when I'm in all sorts of situations. I was in the Seabees, so I had a lot of downtime, a lot of reading. Now, here was a guy that was supposed to be executed. Mitchell Roop, born 1955, died February 7th, was a convicted murderer who achieved notoriety when his death sentence was overturned after a judge determined that Roop was too obese to hang. So they gave him a choice. I remember this story. Lethal injection or hanging. He picked hanging. And he was a big guy. And I remember his lawyers saying that if he were to be hanged, that it would probably rip his head off. But, you know, this is a whole nother topic about death penalty, not the death penalty, inhumane, humane. Well, what about they did to the people they killed? You know, there was nothing humane about the people they killed. Look at Bianchi. He injected freaking washer fluid in somebody, hoping it would kill him. And then Bianchi also tied electrical cords. He'd cut the end off, and he would tie the wires around the person, and then he'd plug it in the wall and try to kill him that way. I'm a loss at words again. So let's continue on. All right, we're going to go to the executions. Jake Bird, executed by hanging. Harvey Collins, December 3rd, 1957, hanging. Wesley Allen Dodd. Now, this is a thick packet on this guy. There's a picture of him. He was executed by hanging. He chose that. But there's a whole bunch of stories on that one. They had to put him on a board. And when they took him to the gallows, there's a whole bunch of stuff on it about how he was subdued, tied. A lot of people think he was drugged or beat up because he was helped by 2 people or 3 people to the gallows. So I don't know about that one. Charles Rodman Campbell, executed by hanging, died May 27th, 1994. I think that was the last guy they hung. And then we have Jeremy Vargas Sagastuguy. He did some terrible things to a child that he was watching. Then when the mother came home with her friend, he shot them both. And this happened right outside of Kennewick, Washington, in Findlay, Washington, in a trailer. The convicted triple murderer refused to fight his execution. His mother filed for stay on his behalf, but it was denied as Sagastuguy was found competent, and therefore no third party, including his mother, could file on his behalf. He was executed October 13th, 1998 by lethal injection at the age of 27. I remember that one. And I have some more ties to Walla Walla State Prison. As I was doing these spiritual 12-step programs in Walla Walla, I met a girl and dated her. She lived in Walla Walla. And come to find out, at the same time, she had a boyfriend in the prison and a husband. So there's a whole bunch of stuff on the husband. I'm not going to go into names. I'm not going to throw any names out there or anybody under the bus. But I told her I was a volunteer at the prison. And she goes, "Oh, my husband's in the prison." I'm like, okay. Weird. But then come to find out, her boyfriend was in the prison. Her boyfriend had her marry this other dude so she could do whatever, because I guess he didn't want a connection with her. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I've got some connections to Walla Walla State Prison. And I was talking to this guy the other day. We were sitting on the couch. This is just 3 weeks ago. Sitting on the couch, we're talking. He said he was a convict at Walla Walla State Prison. I'm like, what years were you there? And he told me, and I'm like, huh, I was going in there when you were in there too. So, you know, like I said, I don't know what's going to become of this video. I don't know what people are going to comment. I have no idea if people are even going to see it. But I just want to do real life, and I'm learning. So I picked this topic today, and I'm not looking to, I don't know, fight with the left or fight with the right, whatever. You know, if you don't like the video, comment you don't like the video. If you like the video, great, like the video. I don't have a Facebook set up yet or an Instagram, but I do have an email. It's reallifewithroadblock@gmail.com. If you'd like to, you know, comment on the video if you want. I don't care. I have no idea what can of worms I'm going to open with this. Just informational. Like I said, I'm learning. I know enough to get myself in trouble, and that's probably exactly what I'm going to do. But then again, like I said earlier, it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. So that said, I hope you all have a great day, and leave me some comments. If you want to give me some likes, go ahead. I'm not in this to make any money. If I do in the future, great. If I don't, no expectations. I have no expectations on this. It is what it is. It's shooting from the hip. And yeah, I'll streamline things and get things better as we go. But like I said, I'm going to take you on this journey with me. And if you have any ideas on how I can better my video cast or podcast or whatever, leave me some comments. Shoot me an email. I'm all out for helping, or someone giving me some help, because I could really use it. Anyway, thanks for listening. Have a good night.